The Queen of the Eels, a Somerset folk tale. Eels are mysterious creatures. Some might even say that they are magical creatures. They begin life thousands of miles away across the other side of the Atlantic Ocean in a strange place called the Sargasso Sea. The baby eels, or elvers, then make the hazardous journey across the ocean to the shore of this country, gently swept along by the current of the Gulf Stream. Here, they swim up our tidal rivers until they reach the ponds, lakes, streams, and ditches, where they will spend their entire lives until it is time for them to make the long return journey back to the Sargasso Sea to breed. Josiah lived in a small village on the banks of the River Parrett, which slowly meanders across the Somerset levels towards the sea. Like most of the other villagers, who made a simple living from the land as farmhands, thatchers, withy cutters, and such like, he knew about the elvers that swam in their tens of thousands up the river at certain times of the year. A moonlit night with a flood tide would find Josiah and most of the menfolk of the village stationed along the muddy banks of the Parrett, a lantern in one hand and a scoop net in the other, patiently watching and waiting for the silver stream of elvers as they flowed upriver. The net would be swept silently through the murky water, and maybe half a dozen of the tiny, wriggling, translucent elvers would be decanted into the wooden pail that was placed on the bank. They seldom caught many of these glass eels, just enough to fry up as a special treat or to give to their wives to bake up in a bootlace pie. They tasted delicious. Occasionally, on a very good night, there might be some left over that could be sold to a local innkeeper for a bit of cider money, but usually they just caught enough for the pot. Now, Josiah had never completely fitted in with the rest of the village folk. Somerset country people generally tend to be gentle and easygoing, accepting things as they are, but Josiah was the sort of person who believed that things are never good enough. So he questioned why it was that whenever they went elver fishing, they always stood along the same stretch of bank, a stretch that never seemed to produce anything more than a modest catch of the precious baby eels. "Why don't we fish along the Sowie side of the river, up past the bridge?" he would ask. And always the reply would be the same. "No, 'tain't right to fish up there," they would say. "We've always fished this bit, and always will. Bad luck to fish Sowie side of the river." But as much as Josiah tried to press them on the reason why nobody ever fished what looked to be a promising stretch of the river, all he ever got was vague mutterings about it being bad luck or the wrong thing to do. So he sought out old Ned, the unofficial village elder. Old Ned had been born and lived all his long life in the village. Old Ned would be able to explain why nobody ever fished up beyond the bridge of the Sowie bank. "We never fish the Sowie side because that's where the Queen of the Eels swims with her little uns," Ned informed him. "Goes back generations. We just take what we need along our bank so she can multiply without harm. That way, there's always enough eels for everyone. Always. 'Tis nature, see? You change that and you're inviting trouble." Josiah scoffed. "Queen of the Eels? What nonsense."